How come even in my fantasies everyone's a jerk?
You're listening to the Lawndale Lowdown.
The Lawndale Lowdown.
You're standing on my neck.
Hello, and welcome to the often delayed third episode of the Lawndale Lowdown. I'm Mike, aka Ognok, joined as ever by Princess Pasta. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's been a while. We did originally aim to do these sort of every 2 weeks and such, but there's been basically things have gotten in the way recently, schedules and just general stuff, basically.
Life things.
Life things have gone in the way, that's the way it is. But we're back. We're doing another one of these shows, and still surprised by the increasing feedback and downloads this is getting. It's picking up steam somehow. I'm genuine. I look at the numbers and I'm genuinely surprised by how many people are listening to this show.
Yeah, apparently you guys like this, which is a surprise.
Yeah, surprised. I mean, the last episode was I don't know whether anyone knows. The last episode was quite heavily edited to make it sound. There's a lot of stuff that never made it into the show, which was, to be honest, quite useless, really, which is why it was cut. I think there was a whole 10-minute thing of me trying to come up with an analogy, and then about 10 minutes in realising, hang on, this doesn't work. So I basically cut the entire 10 minutes. So I can't even remember what it was about now, but it was.
Neither can I.
No, it's probably this as well. And also we had that lovely 15-minute segment on names that I immediately forgot about the next day.
Oh yes, the one that you completely forgot about.
Someone made a comment about, what was it? I think somebody made a comment about names. Oh, that was it. Someone said, are we interested? They listened to the show and asked if we were interested in the study of names or something.
Yeah, and you're like, when did we talk about names?
Did we? And then it's like, no, there's a whole segment that we did about 10 minutes on names. That was the entire segment. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm bird-brained at times, clearly. That's how it happens. So, yeah, we are back anyway. I'm not going to make any promises about schedule because I honestly don't know. I think the main problem is my regular days off work have kept changing in recent weeks, so that's part of the reason why it's a bit of a problem.
And I don't have regular days off, so it's kind of a...
No, you never know. You could be
hit or miss.
You'll be working 3 days one week and 3 entirely different days the next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but that's why we sort of... So I think, should we just commit to we'll do them when we get the chance?
Yes, we'll do them as frequently as we can.
Yeah, we did. I think at one stage we did say we'll try and do them more often than once every 2 weeks if things allow, but we haven't done that yet.
Not yet, but I mean, there's always time.
So I think let's start as we always do with the episode that we're going to talk about, the third episode of season 1, College Board. The summary reads like this. A very short one this time. When Daria and Quinn have to visit a college as part of a college prep course, Helen and Jake take them to their alma mater, Middleton. I always trip over that. I can never, they always pronounce anyway. Alma mater, Middleton College. That doesn't feel right to me. I naturally want to say alma mater.
Well, I think that's.
I don't think I think it's the same thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just. I don't even know if we use the phrase in it. I think it might be just
I was going to say,
American thing.
I think it might be.
I refer to my previous education as that place that I went to. I went to this college or whatever,
That place.
My college. I don't call it my alma mater. I call it my college or whatever. But, this is the first time that college is talked about in the series, and I think it's a long, long time before it's brought up again, actually.
Which honestly makes sense if you think about the fact that Quinn is a freshman and Daria is a sophomore.
It's a good couple of years. I mean, it's not until season 5 that it gets brought. I think the college gets brought up. So it's basically what brings it on is they visit Helen and Jake's friends, and they're talking about how difficult it is to get into college at the moment, and they've actually got what is it? They got a book. They have a 3-year-old daughter who has a book that's like my first SAT test or something like that.
It's my first SAT prep course or something.
It's 3 years old, and they're saying, we have, it's hard enough to get into a decent college now, and say, what are you doing about it? Saying, it's something like, what are you doing about it? And then they suddenly realise we haven't actually thought about it yet.
Which is honestly what most parents are like anyway.
Yeah. So they end up going on this college prep course, which, despite the number of times I've watched the episode a few times in the past, but didn't catch that the name of the company, whatever that was running it, was called When Push Comes to Love, which I always thought it was. I saw that in fan fiction and thought it was made up. I didn't. I sort of not realised that was the actual name of the thing.
I think the teacher who's, teaching the class, I think he says it once.
Yeah.
And I think it's, like, written on the board, but it's one of those things that, like, I don't really pay attention to.
It just seems like, I think it just sounds like a weird name to me for some reason. I don't know.
sounds like one of those, like, late night commercials for, like, a hotline.
So it sounds more like marriage guidance than a college prep thing, anyway. So anyway, they're all doing personal statements, and I think probably my favourite part of the episode is that bit where they're all doing the fantasizing, like what they imagine college is going to be like to them. Of course, Quinn naturally involves, 3 guys fighting over her, because of course it does.
Yeah, I love how she just assumes, like, that's what her college roommates will be like.
Yeah,
three men who are just going to fight for her affections.
Three big, burly, half-naked men are going to fight over her, and that's what's going to happen, and she's going to be rooming with them. And then you get an early insight into what Brittany and Kevin's relationship is, because both of their thoughts don't involve the other, basically.
Yeah, they're both thinking, like, they're not going to be together by the time they get to college.
That kind of basically sets the tone. And so then they're told about they have to visit a college of their choosing. But of course they're being telling the parents, of course that's never going to happen that way, really.
Of course not.
Helen and Jake just go, oh, we'll go to Middleton. And Quinn's protesting, like, I don't want to, it's our choosing and all this. Obviously that's never going to work out that way.
Exactly.
And
I think that's like that scene has one of my favorite parts, where, what does Helen say? She says, I would love if you kids would have followed in our footsteps, and Quinn goes, we're walking.
I feel like Quinn is being almost coming across as even less intelligent than usual in this episode. It seems like she's...
Yeah, this episode, she's at, like, considering, like, the whole series, this episode is probably when she's kind of the dumbest.
Especially when she actually thinks, like, a making out scholarship is a legitimate thing. I'm like, why?
Like, why would that ever be a thing?
I mean, surely even... you think surely even she would realise that's not real. I mean, obviously even Daria can see that a mile off, and she's all like, I think he would know better than you.
So it's like, obviously, no, you don't know any better.
So that leads to them going to Middleton on some various weird characters that they meet there anyway. The tour sort of gets off to a great start when they decide to check out... Helen and Jake decide to check out Jake's old dorm room and basically abandon the children with a tour guide, which is a good start.
Yeah, like, I love how as soon as they get to the, Middleton, Helen and Jake they suddenly become, like, obsessed with remembering, like, oh, remember when we were in college?
The weirdest thing, like, Helen actually reminiscing about seemingly to be happy about people making obscene comments about her, basically. I'm thinking, you would have thought that the Helen of later series you thought would not stand for that at all.
No, but...
Then again, she was younger, so you never know. And that the age does come up as well. That the first time she's sort of trying to... She's like sort of wishing she was younger than she was when she's talking to that freshman while trying to find Quinn, basically.
Oh yeah, she's like, I don't even look like I'm
she changes her
5 years away from 40 or something.
It says 45, 43 in 5 years.
Yeah, like okay.
I think age comes up in another episode further down the line, if I remember correctly.
It does, at least where she's concerned.
That happens, and Jake is, of course, trying to be sort of cool with the college kids as well.
I love it. He's like, oh, hey, toss that disc over here.
Yeah. And then they both at some point say, college punks. So all of this is happening. Meanwhile, they're eventually trying to find Daria and Quinn. They're being taken around the fraternities, because that's where Quinn wants to go. Yes,
of course.
And she acts like she's a pledge. What was it? Daria says, "You're not even in college. You're not even in college." And she says something. She says something like, "I don't try and stop you from doing what you want to do."
Yeah, she's like, "I don't try to stop you from reading. You don't try to stop me from doing this."
Cleaning the steps with a toothbrush. And they make a reference to the whippings that they said they used to have, and she says, "Oh, if you don't do it, you'll get a noodle whipping. You won't forget." And Daria just says, "It's good to see they keep the old customs alive."
Yeah, exactly.
So I realise I'm not doing this in order, but it's probably because I don't remember the exact order in which it went. I think I watched it a few days ago because when we were going to record previously, and it never happened.
Yeah, it's like a week ago.
The bursar is an interesting character. He seems like some weird criminal guy or something by what he's saying.
Oh yeah, he's like, you play the ponies, Jake?
Yeah.
Like, clearly this is not a legitimate school.
It's like they have many. It's like they have many interests. They collect garbage. They have a candy shop. This doesn't sound shady at all.
Which honestly makes you wonder if the school was always like that, or if it's just like they became that way.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously found out in a later episode that somewhere along the line, Helen isn't as enthusiastic about Middleton as she used to be, because it was basically she had no choice but to go there.
Exactly, which it's funny when you think about how adamant they were about showing Daria and Quinn the school as if it was like that great when they know.
But, that's the way I think that's the way it is. This being a first season, they obviously weren't thinking that far ahead. So. Obviously, Jake always thinks it's a great school the whole time. So.
Yeah, he never thinks anything bad about it.
When Jake eventually gets out of the bursar's office, they're trying to find the kids, and he mentions going to the campus police. And I just love Helen's instant reaction of the fuzz.
Yeah, like, oh, we can't call the cops.
Like, she's a lawyer now, and she's like, what about that? And Jake's actually saying, we're parents now.
Yeah, like...
the police are good. Missing daughters, bad. And so that leads to Quinn basically trying to get those guys to play a game.
Oh yes, oh my gosh, I can't remember even now.
They just keep going 1, 2 zoom. They keep saying it was the thing with the numbers. I didn't capture that sound, all of that, but and as is usual with Quinn, she's basically enamored with everyone. Becomes enamored with all the guys. Basically, become enamored with her
somehow.
They make her the keg queen. Which leads to, I think, one of my favourite lines, Daria going, "That's no queen, that's my sister." she's not old enough to drive.
Exactly.
And what is it? And the interesting thing where Helen tries to blame Daria for partly for it, even though she was like staying with the tour guide the entire time they were there. She was the only one that stayed with them.
Yeah, like the whole time.
They were the ones that ran off.
Of course,
somehow it's Daria's fault partially.
Like she stays with the tour guide the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
Helping people fix their papers.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Going back a little bit, she's helping people fix their papers for money, which she says, I don't take checks from college students. She only pays cash, and it makes you wonder, like some of them with some of the things she's saying, how did they get into the college in the first place?
Exactly. Well, I mean, like we said, going back, I mean, it's Middleton.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard to get in.
If it was a third choice for Helen when she applied to college, then probably. But they end up going to the party, which is obviously where they find out that Quinn's the thing, and there's the boy who's trying to get Helen's panties to fly as a flag.
Oh yeah, none of the other girls.
She's initially flattered until she realises what's going on.
Yeah, he's like, oh, none of the other girls' underwear is big enough to be seen from the flagpole.
Yeah, is this a trick? And that's the thing. He ends up turning up at the house because he owes Daria money for a paper, and that's when Jake says, "And she made you pay cash?" "Yes, sir." "Good girl."
Yeah, and he's like, "You remember me, ma'am?"
No,
like she's gonna be happy about that.
And then that ends up with the Daria and Jane in the pizza place at the end, where she comments about how Helen wouldn't let her keep the money because it was wrong to sort of help cheaters prosper, basically.
Yeah, like
Jane delivers the line, "So she's going to give up being a lawyer?"
Exactly.
which is quite a good point. And which point says, to which Daria says, "I asked her that, and I'm sure one day we'll be on speaking terms." I'm thinking, yeah, she kind of points out something. I'm thinking that probably hits a little too close to home for Helen.
Yeah, it's like that probably wasn't the right thing to say.
And then, of course, there's Quinn finally realising, yeah, making out scholarship isn't a thing.
Yeah, exactly. That the guy was just trying to make out with her, clearly.
So, I've noticed we've done this a bit differently. I've decided sort of to save the clips till later rather than play them as we're going, because I think it just to keep the flow going a little bit. So, where shall we even begin? the problem is this thing I have that plays the sounds doesn't actually put them in any... It puts them in alphabetical order, which is a problem. There's the thing where they actually suggest doing the college prep course in the first place.
Daria, if you don't get into a decent school, your life will be ruined. End of discussion.
Way to go, Mom. She can't get her way all the time.
Actually, Quinn, it wouldn't hurt if you took the course too.
Wait a minute!
Maybe we can sit together.
I just love the way she says that.
I know, it's just perfect.
If I remember correctly as well, when they're doing sort of the summary at the end, they are actually sitting next to each other. Because they get kicked out because of Quinn being underage, basically.
Oh yeah,
that's how that happens. He said that's the thing as well. He says how's the famous Middleton College? I'm thinking, I wonder what they're famous for.
exactly. Like clearly not their, standards.
Because Mac brings up something about some sort of rule that means if he gets in the team, he never has to take an exam.
Yeah.
At which point the guy who's taking the course is like, all right, yeah, I'm looking forward to a great education.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can obviously tell that Mag actually wants to learn things. He doesn't just want to play sports.
That'd be good in Kevin's case.
That might work for Kevin. We have Jane's reaction to being in the course as well.
Today's admission standards are more rigorous than ever, which
Can we
is
get
why...
on with this? I have someplace to go. Television counts as a place.
I love how she doesn't even wait for him to say anything.
Yeah, she basically interrupts it. I love that whole television display thing. That sounds like I often... I don't know, I remember often thinking I'd rather be somewhere else. I have a book. Can I read a book instead?
Yeah, it's like, do I have to be in this class?
Yeah. And so then we have, of course, the fantasies where Daria is naturally, amongst all of them, Daria is imagining that in her first week of freshman year, she's being asked to teach at the graduate school. Of course, there's the professor who's advising obviously has an ulterior motive for doing it, of course, because that's how the world works as far as Daria is concerned. So we get this.
Superb! Now I can use your dorm room to carry on affairs with some of the more beautiful undergraduates. Thank you.
How come even in my fantasies everyone's a jerk?
So that pretty much sums up how she feels about everyone in general.
Exactly.
It's like she can't even imagine people being nice, apparently.
Yeah, not even when she thinks about college is anybody nice.
Yeah. So here's now here's the bit with Kevin asking Daria what the answer for one of the questions on the test thing is.
Daria, what'd you get for number 1?
The thing about who I really am?
Yeah.
Try cross-dresser.
Just the way she does it. You think for a brief shining moment she might actually be going to give him a real answer, and then just says, try cross-dresser.
There's at that point it's like there's no helping Kevin.
No, quite early on you realise that Kevin's a bit hopeless. Just at random, here's the bursar.
What's this address?
It's a candy store. That's their business. They sell candy. And make loans. Oh, and haul trash. They got a variety of interests, actually. You play the ponies, Jake?
Yeah, he doesn't sound shaky at all.
Like, this all sounds totally legitimate.
I'm thinking this college has gone downhill a long way, apparently.
Yeah, clearly.
And here's Helen with her age.
How old do you think I am?
I don't really,
43. That is, in 5 years I'll be 43. Seems like only yesterday I was partying with the best of them. I was pretty wild. Still am when I feel like it. But you're a college man. You probably know all about that.
I'm just a freshman, and we're not really supposed to. I get headaches sometimes because I'm, allergic to things, and I sort of have to go now. Bye.
Just love
That kid's voice kills me every time.
He's just great. He's clearly, he's one of those stereotypical, the sort of the type who are always, a woman saying something to them and they're suddenly really scared and nervous. He really wants to be anywhere else.
Well, I mean, how would you feel if someone's a mom? I was trying to... that's just awkward.
Is she going on to me? It's very weird. And then we have another quite longish clip of Daria helping the college students out with their papers.
Okay, look. I'm not going to rewrite this paper for you, but I will give you a couple of tips that will help you rewrite it. First, The book title, Sons and Lovers, does not have an apostrophe in it. Anywhere. Second, unless your ex-boyfriend is an authority on D.H. Lawrence, don't base your thesis on something he said while making out.
What about something he said when we broke up?
No.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't even know what's going on.
I was gonna say, is it bad that I have that memorized?
I don't know. It depends how many times you've watched the episode.
Not many.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't know, that line is, like, that little part always makes me laugh, because it's just something that girl's like, oh, well, what about something he said when we were breaking up?
like, why would you even do that? I mean, I think I missed out the bit where Daria says afterwards, "Thank you and good luck with the doctorate or whatever it is."
Yeah, exactly. Like, somehow she's onto her doctorate.
While she's doing that, Quinn's basically becoming the keg queen.
Keg queen, keg queen, keg.
Ah, they've chosen the keg queen. It's a huge honor. She gets to drive the kegs to and from the distributor.
Wait a minute. That's no queen. That's my sister.
I don't even know where to even begin.
Like, that's no queen. That's my sister.
Yeah, although you can honestly see something like that actually happening to Quinn when she does actually get to college properly.
Oh, yeah, totally. I could totally see that happening to Quinn. At least Quinn this early on.
And so we find out an early side to Brittany in this clip.
I had a good time too. I walked into the student center and these kids were reading poetry. Then they let me make up some of my own. And they were really interested in my feelings and thoughts and stuff.
Huh. That sounds stupid.
Shut up, naked boy.
That comes up a couple of times.
Yes. It's funny because, like, you don't expect Brittany to, like, even care about poetry or anything, and she's, like, so into it.
Yeah, and then of course he wants Quinn's autograph because she was the keg queen. He says the same thing. Dream on, naked boy. I'm trying to remember now. He was tied up naked to a pole, covered in molasses or something.
Yeah, something crazy.
Weird. So then we get, of course, Quinn apparently gets a letter having been accepted into something called Manatee College, which apparently isn't quite what it seems.
Did you guys read this letter?
Yes, and it says right there that she's in.
And here at the bottom it also says, Manatee College has no classes but offers beachfront accommodations at a cost of $10,000 per semester.
You know, considering Helen's a lawyer, you'd think she would have read the whole thing.
I love how she's, like, totally like, yes, we read it. Like, she's so, like, we read the letter, and they clearly didn't.
There's clearly some fine print in there, which, again, you think, but given that she's a lawyer, you would have thought she would have read that. Well, apparently not.
Like, no one thinks it's suspicious that some random college is, like, sending her something like, oh, you're accepted.
I mean, what kind of college is that, anyway? Is it even a college at all?
Yeah, it's like, I think they use the term college loosely.
So, anyway, speaking of Helen being a lawyer, that leads to the bit where Daria's had all the paper writing money taken away from her.
By the way, do you mind paying for this? I'm broke.
What happened to all your paper writing money?
My mom wouldn't let me keep it. She said it was wrong to encourage cheaters and to profit from them.
So, she's giving up being a lawyer?
I asked her that, and I'm sure someday we'll once again be on speaking terms.
There's a little bit of pointing out a flaw in Helen's logic, I suppose, in a way.
Definitely.
Again, there seems to be a lot of that in this episode. I think this is a very different. So Helen definitely changes in the future. One thing I was also going to bring out about Brittany in the previous thing, is it just me, or does her voice in this episode sound more like sounds different to the previous episodes?
It does.
As it were, it sounds like, I mean, it's like she has this one voice for one episode, and then she has the same slightly more annoying voice that she has for the rest of the series.
I don't know. I feel like in some episodes she does kind of sound like this, but most of them she has that annoying high-pitched voice. I mean, it could just be the earlier episodes, and, like, of course, it's going to be a little bit less consistent.
There's just one more clip from before Quinn gets made queen.
As you go around counting off, for every number that has a 3 in it, or is a multiple of 3, you say Zoom. Every multiple of 7, or number with a 7 in it, you say Schwartz.
Can't we just play the one with the quarter?
But But you look so cute when you say funny words.
I don't even know what the point. I really don't know what the point of that scene is, but it's obviously something a reference I don't get or something. But
I know a lot of people used to play that game in my high school, but it was mostly like theater kids. I don't know if that's something that
literally. It's probably because I'm not familiar with that I don't know what it's about.
I mean, I think it has something to do with the words. I have no idea.
Yeah. So anyway, that was College Board. I mean, it was an okay episode. I think it wasn't anything special. It had its moments, but I think it was just kind of middle of the road. Really, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was just there, really.
Yeah, it's a pretty average episode. I mean, it has its funny moments, but for the most part, it's one, like I said, that I haven't watched many times because it's just kind of like, eh.
So, we've talked about that. In a slight change to what we've done in previous episodes, we're not going to do fan fiction this time, mainly because somehow, despite the fact it's been nearly 4 weeks since we actually recorded, we didn't actually come up with anything for it, and then we decided to do something else, because we both recently acquired a copy of the book, The Daria Diaries, which we were trying to figure out how we were going to do this, and we sort of decided that we're going to sort of use it to, when it has things that are relevant to the episode that we're talking about, we're going to sort of bring stuff up from it. I think that's what we've decided we're going to do with regards to the book. So this is not going to be this is not going to be the last time we use it. The first thing, there's a couple of things from College Board that sort of make an appearance with it. I think the book was written, what was it, 1999, was it, or 2000?
1998.
98. So this will be either, what will it be? Somewhere around season 2. This was written then, or perhaps.
Yeah.
So we have. So there's a couple of things in here. We have the worksheet that they were talking about, which we've got the one that Daria filled in, which is as you could probably expect, has the sort of answers that she'd give, like who I really am. I have always believed myself to be a royal princess snatched from a golden cradle by a band of rogue suburbanites. I figured, yeah, that doesn't sound good. So it says, so then following on it says, who I aspire to be, a vengeful queen. That follows up from that. So I just love how matter of fact one of the answers is, as well here. The final question: what do I want out of my college education? A diploma.
Yeah, pretty much like, yeah, my diploma.
What else? Favorite? I'm actually not going through this in any order. I'm just sort of going to which. I'm just picking interesting ones. So, favorite hobbies and interests: drag racing and light opera.
I think my favorite one is biggest disappointment. Wings melted when I flew too close to the sun. Like, that's just one of my favorite ones.
Who is my role model? My parents. They are living proof that the insane can lead productive lives.
When I read the stuff that she wrote, I always imagine like her teachers reading this. Like, how do you even respond to this?
I mean, this comes up in psychotherapy, where they have to fill out the sheets telling them about themselves, and the doctors in Quiet Ivy think she's got she's insane or something. They think she's got some sort of problem.
Exactly.
They're planning on putting her in a padded room, basically. So what was it? Favorite pastime: turning water into wine.
Yeah,
I knew I should have. What was it? I knew I should have gone to talking into a burning bush.
Yeah, like.
So that pretty much fits in, really. And then the other thing, of course, was the letter from Manatee College, which I just love the logo, which is sort of, is that supposed to be an otter? I can't even tell.
It's a manatee.
It's a manatee. Duh. It says manatee on the thing. Yes.
No, it's
kind of related to seals and otters, I suppose.
I mean, yeah. They're in the same family.
I don't know. I'm tired. That's my excuse. Oh God, what's happened to my brain? I suppose I'll just read the thing. I mean, it says the thing at the bottom. Just the thing says Manatee College offers no academic classes per se, but instead provides valuable beachfront life experience for $10,000 per semester, subject to change without prior notification. And also, use of the word curriculum is not meant to imply the existence of an accredited degree program or programs.
So essentially, this is a college without any classes.
It says here, Dear Miss Quinn Morgendorfer, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted into the undergraduate program at Manatee College. Although you have not officially applied, your reputation for first-rate studenting precedes you, and we are thrilled to offer you early admission. Your excellent work at Lawndale High School has so impressed us that we are confident in your ability to succeed as a member of our student body. So there is no need for you to fill out confusing forms or compose bothersome essays. Simply return the RSVP card in the enclosed envelope. You don't even need a stamp.
Like, it's, like, I love how they're just like, we know that you didn't apply, but you should just come to our college.
Yeah. Like Manatee College's beachfront accommodations and flexible academic standards place it among the most innovative and attractive institutions of higher learning in the state of Florida. The soothing sound of rolling surf makes for a relaxing educational environment, and our poolside library contains more than 300 books and books on tape, many on subjects relevant to the curriculum. Room service is available at all times.
At all I love how it's like 300 books. Like, that's not many at all.
It doesn't sound like a college. It sounds like it basically sounds like it just sounds like a holiday or something, like
a resort
vacation place. To ensure your place in our freshman class 3 years from now, please respond promptly so we can begin the necessary financial background check. Good work, Quinn. We can't wait to see you.
I love how it says, like, in the logo, it's like the little line is like for those with a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the manatee has a drink.
Yeah, it's like clearly
because that's what it is, a manatee. Anyway, so that's everything from the book. So, as I say, we're going to delve into that every now and then. It's a funny book.
Yes, there are a lot of good.
And you can pick it up cheap if you want to. There's some extra, there's some sort of nice building on things that have actually happened in the series, or that had happened up to that point. And as I say, you can pick it. If you look around, you should be able to pick it up for relatively cheap. I mean, I got it for about, including postage, I got it for about £3.50. So that's not bad. It's in good condition as well. So.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember how much mine was, but it was probably around $6. My copy's really nice condition as well. Amazon, I found, has a lot of really nice copies.
So some of the prices that you can find on some of the copies are sort of ambitious at best, really.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, you want £120 for this book? No, I think not.
Like, my book's in pretty, decent condition. I would say even great, probably. And, if you're going to pay that much money for something like this, it better be, never read before.
Yeah, and unplated in gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, the only thing I can find about my copy that's, it's obviously slightly worn, and somebody's obviously used the front of it to lean on while I write something, because there's you can tell by the sort of the letters sort of slightly indented into the front, but it's sort of obviously it's an old book, and it's for the price you can't argue.
Exactly.
I said basically the postage made up most of the charge. I think the actual price before postage was something like 90 pence or something. So.
Good deal.
Nothing. So yeah, so that's something we're going to delve into occasionally, and we are going to finish as usual with a little bit of weirdness, a little bit of real life Six Ad World.
Next on Six Ad World.
This was one you found actually, because I did have a story and lost it. Actually, it was a case of me thinking I must add that, and then copy and pasting another link for something else, and I said it's good to I actually double check the link before we started recording. Otherwise, we would have been talking about British racial discrimination policies, which this isn't that kind of podcast. If you want that, go somewhere else. So this is Jonathan Masters, Kentucky Lieutenant Governor candidate. Lieutenant? I can never remember how I'm supposed to pronounce it.
You're right.
Lieutenant. I know that in Britain and America it's pronounced differently. I've always pronounced it lieutenant, so I could be wrong. Well, I'm not wrong, because it's... Anyway, never mind that. Jonathan Masters, Kentucky Lieutenant Governor candidate, arrested for an overdue library book. So... of course, here's the opening. It's at the Huffington Post, so of course the first line is, "Throw the book at him." Well done. Dear Lord. Just that's how you can tell it's a Huffington Post article anyway. If you're ever wondering. A candidate in the race to be Kentucky's next Lieutenant Governor was arrested Wednesday on charges apparently connected to an overdue library book. Jonathan Masters, 33, a Democratic challenger for the office, was driving to Bowling Green for a TV interview when a Kentucky state trooper pulled him over. He said my tags were expired, Masters told the Huffington Post. I thought he was going to let me go because he was being real friendly, but then he went back to his patrol car and went for about 15 minutes. Notice how I'm not actually trying to have any kind of accent at all here. I've heard some people read news stories like this on podcasts and try to do an accent of the people who were talking.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We won't go there.
We don't play that. We don't do that. Anyway, when he came back, he asked me, "Did you take out a library book 11 years ago?" It seems Masters had a warrant out for his arrest on the charge of theft by failure to make required disposition of property, a misdemeanor when the property is under $500. I started to laugh, but he said, "This is serious," and took me to jail for 3 hours.
It's like, what?
Yeah. Masters was booked on the outstanding warrant and paid $100 bond to get out. He is scheduled to be arraigned March 30th. Is that a word? Arraigned?
Yeah, when they, call for your arraignment.
I've never heard that word. I've never heard that term before.
See, you learn something new every day.
For a minute there, I thought they'd spelt arranged wrong, but I'm thinking that doesn't make sense. If that word's arranged, that sentence doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be weird.
Well, I suppose if I didn't know what the word meant, it didn't make any sense to me anyway, but anyway. I plan to fight the charges, he said. I'm going to request a jury trial. Really?
Hey.
A jury trial over a book?
This book is very serious business.
Yeah, Masters was born Kevin Deaton. Well, he said he legally changed his name to 2004. I didn't want to carry the legacy of my violent, oppressive father. He said, "Boy, this is going in a different direction." He suspects the name change is the reason for why the warrant wasn't issued for 11 years. Masters is getting sympathy from an unlikely source. That wasn't spelled wrong. I read that wrong. Drew Curtis, who is running to be Kentucky governor as an independent candidate. He suspects Masters could have been set up by a competitor, but admits he has no proof.
It sounds like a setup, even though I have no idea if that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I need to read any more of that. I think
you pretty much.
That's just the weirdest thing, though. 11-year library charge. I mean, I don't know.
Can you imagine if someone told you, well, you have to go to jail because this book is 11 years overdue?
Yeah, and you owe $500 or something. $100. And he changed his name. Jonathan Masters. Well, to be honest, that's not a bad name change, in all honesty.
I mean, if I was going to change my name, I'd make it something ridiculous.
I was going to say for a minute. I was thinking you were going to say that. I'd change my name to Jonathan Masters. I'm like, are you sure?
Hey, I mean, if you want to change your name, you have to go all out,
Change your name, change your identity. It's not too late. Yeah, so that was, I don't know, that's a weird one anyway. Library books. Why? The stories I find always seem to involve library books for some reason. There seems to be a few of them about. I don't know why.
The library takes their books very seriously. I used to work there. If you go to the library, do not mess around with their books.
Library serious business, people. It's weird that for some reason I'm curious as to what the book actually was, but
I know. I wonder if it was something that was one of those books.
They probably want to bring back his thing. I don't want them to know I've actually brought this out in the first place. Something potentially suspect,
especially for him.
Right. So anyway, if you happen to have found some weird story that you want us to look at on the show, you can email it to us if you want, lawndalelowdown@gmail.com. We have literally been inundated with an email from an advertising thing. So
we're just swamped with all these emails you guys keep sending us.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we really talk about the email that much. I mean, if you've found an interesting story, then be sure to send it to us. We'll credit you. And I think on that note, we shall call it a day on this.
Yes.
And quite prompt as well. Done earlier than I thought we would be. So that's good. So next time we'll no doubt cover an episode, and the episode will be Cafe Disaffecto.
One of my favourites.
Yes, I was going to say one I rather like, so that'll be interesting. As for the rest of it, who knows? We'll find out when we get there. We'll record it at some time, someplace in the future. Just keep it locked to something. I don't know. LawndaleLowdown.com. That's a good idea. We have a website. It even has It even has a little article on a blog post on there as well, which is something we will do occasionally as the mood takes us. Just just about a little something to the website other than the podcast. And we have now, what was the article we have on there? The 3 things I learned from Quinn Morgendorffer, written by Princess Pasta.
Yes.
There it is. Yes, 3 things I learned from Quinn Morgendorffer. I think that went out after we recorded, but the last episode, but before the episode went live. So there's going to be more. There's going to be the occasional thing like that every now and then. So yeah, look, the LawndaleLowdown.com, and we also have Twitter. Twitter.com/Lawndale Lowdown for the show. No "the" on the front, just Lawndale Lowdown. I love the way I've kept everything in mind by adding "the" to the website and not anything else. Just to keep things organized. See, I keep telling you, everyone, this is a professional outfit here. If you want to, you can even follow us individually. I am at Ognawk, OGNAWK, and Pasta is at Pasta_Goddess. I don't think there's not much Daria talk that goes on there, but there might be other stuff should you wish to follow us.
I mean, yeah, if you care about what we do, besides
see
this,
random nonsensical posts to go with this random nonsensical podcast, then there you are. And that's about going to do it for us. So for me and for Pasta, we will see you next time. Goodbye.
La 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 la. La 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 la.